Okay, so in the final match today in the World Cup, the USA played Wales. It was a 1-1 draw. It was a game of two halves. The USA looked very good in the first half. They looked very threatening. They passed and moved with pace, and they ran at the Welsh defence at pace. And Wales were all over the place. They were all at sea. Couldn't get on the ball. Couldn't get into the game. Bale and Ramsey were really quiet. They had no punch up front, and they looked really defensively nervous. And Timothy Weah's goal in 36 minutes summed up that first half of the USA. Quick, incisive, physical. They were very physical, and they did everything with pace. The challenges came in at pace. The passing was at pace. The movement was at pace, and it was a brilliant end to a very good build-up play. Very quick, incisive passing, quick movement, and that's a brilliant finish by Timothy Weah, whose father is George Weah of AC Milan and Man City fame in the 90s. Timothy Weah, he had a very good game. He looked a bit tired when he came off in the second half, but he had run his socks off with his pressing. But when in possession as well, in his movement, he was constantly busy. He was never stationary, he was never still, he was never walking around, he was always moving. So Timothy Weah looks quite a good, decent young player. And I think he has a bright future ahead of him in this USA side. For 4 years' time, I think he will definitely develop into a much better player than he is now. He's very raw, he's the unfinished article, but he had a very good game. The Welsh, though, they make a tactical change at half-time. Kiefer Moore comes on, and they play differently. They now have a target man up front who is physical and mobile. Maybe not the quickest, can't run in behind, but he can bully the American defenders. And they couldn't cope with him. And with Kiefer Moore on, bringing that physical presence, Ramsey and Bale get into the game. Although Gareth Bale, even though he scores the penalty on 82 minutes, had a very quiet game. And he always turns up for Wales, regardless of what he does at club level. And there's been criticisms over his attitude at club level and how focused he's in. He obviously goes and plays golf, but when he plays for his national side, he turns up. The penalty is well taken. The keeper gets a hand to it. I mean, on another day that could be saved, and this could still be a 1-0 win to the US. The problem with the US is that I think they put all their energy into the first half. They couldn't tactically adapt to the Welsh tactical change with Kiefer Moore, and they had run them. They hadn't taken other opportunities they had in that first half. They had a lot of possession. They could have taken more opportunities. I think they squandered some opportunities. Pulisic was a bit mixed today. Pulisic, he had some good bright moments, and then he had some frustrating moments, going to ground too easily, coughing up the ball too easily. But when he was linking well with Timothy Weah and other players in attack, he looked good. But then there was other moments where he looked rushed, not settled. Wales, on the other hand, they were also struggling. I think some of their players were struggling a little bit for fitness, bearing in mind a lot of the Welsh players come from all the divisions in the English game. So we're talking League 1 and League 2 players are in this squad as well. And those players from the lower divisions, I think the pace of the game caught up with them a little bit. There are some players who haven't had a lot of game time, like Aaron Ramsey, for example, in the team. And Aaron Ramsey played the full 90 minutes and did very well. Gareth Bale obviously hadn't had a lot of game time at Real Madrid in recent seasons. He's gone to the MLS with LAFC. I don't think he's played every minute of every game, and he's also playing in a less intense league. So the fact that Bale and Ramsey survived 90 minutes without coming off is a good sign. Ampadu ran himself into the ground. He's never really been given a chance at Chelsea. He's been constantly, put out on loan at various clubs. But he had a very good roving defensive role in the midfield. He was full of energy and he kept running and plugging away, but he looked exhausted by the end. So there were some Welsh players who were out on their feet. There were some American players out on their feet, players cramping up. But it really was a game of two halves. I think Wales have ridden their luck in the first half because they could and surely should have been, maybe 2 or 3 down. With the way the possession and the chances and how they just couldn't get on the ball. America squandering opportunities, maybe a bit of inexperience and naivety, because this is the youngest squad at the World Cup, is the US squad, which is very interesting, very young team, very raw team. They look exciting, but I think game management let the Americans down. On the Welsh side of things, some good tactical changes there in the second half. But they've got to start better in their next game. They've got to be on the front foot in their next game. And now, because this is a draw, England are in the driving seat to get out the group as group winners. They just need a draw to do that. Their goal difference is far superior to what I think the US and Wales will do against Iran. Personally, I think England have really put down a statement. I think a draw will, will send England through. But I do think both Wales and the US need to have better game management and pace themselves better, because the Welsh didn't pace themselves very well. They had to, make a tactical change and then up the level of intensity. The US couldn't maintain their level of intensity. So there we go. It's finished 1-1. An entertaining match, a physical match as well. There's some very physical challenges. Another thing I've noticed is where all this added time is coming from. I know in the England game there were some head injuries, and both the Iranian goalkeeper and Harry Maguire both went off with concussion and some head knocks and had to go through concussions tests, and there was some lengthy spells of treatment. So I understand a lot of the lengthy spells of added time in the England-Iran game, but some of the other games are having like 8-9 minutes added time at the end of halves. And I'm trying to work out where this is coming from. And I do believe there has been a directive to punish time wasting towards the officials. The officials have clearly been given a FIFA directive to keep adding time for time wasting and wasting times getting subs on and off. So we'll see if that becomes clearer in time, but I can't see how 9 minutes could be added on at the end of this game. There wasn't that many stoppages. There was no serious injuries. There was no lengthy spells of treatment for players. There was only 2 goals. I'm trying to fathom where the referees got an extra 9 minutes of play from in the second half. I really can't see where that time has been added on. There was a lot of fouls. There was some very physical, robust challenges, but no players went off with any serious injuries. There's no lengthy spells of treatment. There was no VAR checks, for example. So I'm trying to work out that. But very entertaining game. Still no goalless games yet, which is fantastic. And I will be looking at goals per game average in the last 5 or 6 tournaments that I've watched. I'll actually be trying to break down, see if the goal per games average has gone up. Yes, we've had the first ever 6-2 result in a World Cup with England-Iran. So that's an 8-goal game. We've had a 2-0 obviously last night with Ecuador. We've had a 2-0 this evening with the Netherlands and Senegal. And we've had a 1-0, which another 2-goal game. So I do believe goals per game is up. So that'll be interesting. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comments section below, and I'll have some more content for you soon. And I am apologising now in advance. I will not be able to watch all the World Cup games this time round because of, unfortunately, my job. I will try and do my best to watch as many games as possible and review as many games as possible. I missed, unfortunately, a large proportion of the England-Iran game, which is why there's no review, because I can't review what I haven't seen. So I will give you a heads up. That is the heads up. That's an unfortunate timing of this World Cup at the time of year it's taking place, because I normally would take a lot of my annual leave in the summer, and it's taking place in winter when my work gets busy. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Please place your thoughts in the comment section below about the game and the other matches so far in the World Cup and your thoughts on it, and I'll have some more content for you very, very soon.